zone. Yes, dudes and dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town. Oh, yeah!
All right, Hartford Nation, welcome back to HSC Hartford Sports Cast. We have a huge week and a great show for you, so strap yourselves in and let's get started. I am Sean.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are here to talk all the fun stuff, all of the things. It's been a huge week, so we'll start with the WNBA Draft real quick. A couple weeks ago, UConn defeated Baylor in a really hotly contested matchup, and one of the big players in that game was Dejounai Carrington. And it turned out that Dejounai Carrington fell to number 20 in the draft, so it was a dream scenario for the Sun, where they were able to get another shooting guard to the roster and one that's 5'11" and can really do some damage on defense, as she showed against UConn. And just basically a first-round talent, so a great shot for Connecticut. They also got Tisha Heidman and Patrice Mompremier. But it's just a great day for the Connecticut Sun. We also have some great news out of Hartford. Hartford Yard Goats just announced that they'll begin selling individual tickets on next Monday, April 26th at 10 a.m. Tickets will be sold for games in May to start with, which include a 6-game series against Portland, the Red Sox affiliate, and 6 against Somerset, the Yankees affiliate. And the Yard Goats, of course, will once again be the Rockies AA affiliate, but spring is here, baseball is happening, and that leads us to some of the big news. Today, Governor Lamont made the big announcement. As of May 19th, the state will do away with remaining COVID restrictions, basically. May 1st, they'll lift all outdoor restrictions, including allowing bars to operate outdoors with serving food. Then on May 19th, the state will do away with the remaining restrictions, and bars will be able to open, event venue and stadium capacity limits will be removed. So the Hartford Yard Goats, for instance, will be able to go to 100%. The Hartford Athletic will be able to go to 100%. And social distancing requirements will be dropped. In addition, gathering restrictions for private events will also be eliminated. So that'll be a huge shot in the arm for the event industry. Governor Lamont said today, I think we've earned May 1 as a time we can be outside. And we'll see how it goes. Assuming it goes well, May 19th we can open up some more. So that's huge news, Hartford. That means that stadiums will be full this year, but there's a lot to unpack in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And my impression is that many of these stadiums, Yard Goats included, will be asking fans to wear masks, at least while they're not eating and drinking.
Correct.
And you know, as we see vaccination rates ramp up, which is fantastic, and I think Connecticut has really shown itself as a premier state for getting those vaccinations through, and we see the weather getting nicer, hopefully community transmission will drop, and we'll be able to go back to safe outdoor activities that we all want to do.
Yeah, so Connecticut has, according to a New York Times report, about half of Connecticut residents have now received at least one dosage of a COVID-19 vaccine, placing Connecticut among the top 3 fastest states for per capita vaccinations. So, you know, we're no slouches in that regard, and you know, this really comes down to personal choice. You know, are you comfortable enough coming out to a ball game? Do you know, how do you feel about you know, the limitations being lifted? And you know, it's tough for me because I'm looking forward to the stadium being open again. However, I have to consider the importance of remaining, you know, of sticking with our restrictions and following the rules as much as possible, because you know we're still coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, personally, as a scientist, as a biologist who has a bit of an understanding of the issue, I would say that it seems like, according to the studies, transmission in outdoor environments is pretty low. But of course, when you have a lot of people gathering, even outdoors, there's always that risk. But it's helped by people going out, getting their vaccine. You reduce the amount of community transmission in the community, and that makes everyone safer. Now, maybe you're making a personal choice. Maybe if you're a bit older, you may not want to go to the first few games, just see how things go. But in general, that's a choice that everyone can make. And we definitely know that outdoor venues are a lot safer than indoor venues.
There's no such thing as perfection in any industry. So there is,
Right.
Understandable misgivings that people are going to have about coming for a while. And
yeah, and honestly, this has never happened before. So everything with all sports shutting down and reopening, so people are kind of feeling it out as they go along, and it sounds like Lamont is consulting with his public health officials and considering what looks like to be on a safe and a good track. And I'm sure at least by the May date that you're talking about as well, where everything opens up to full capacity, anyone who wants to get a shot in Connecticut should be able to get one.
definitely an interesting day for Hartford sports. Not just
Absolutely,
Hartford.
yeah, but
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say that having sports coming back, it just is like a feeling of one step closer to getting back to normal. When everything shut down and during that NBA game when they, the refs came out and said everyone has to leave, it's canceled because of the I guess one of the Utah Jazz players, I believe, had tested positive, and after that, it just everything just turned abnormal. So I feel like this sort of shows that things are getting back on track, and it'll be exciting to see spring sports coming back to their fullness.
I'm patient zero for this concept of being a part of something bigger than yourself when it comes to sports. I've always connected to that feeling of, being a fan and being a part of something collective and sharing the reactions, all be watching the same thing and reacting together and just how that makes your, a common stranger, someone, you're essentially your friend. And that's something that I've missed hugely in the last year. I think a lot of people have. So sports coming back is a great thing in many ways. So it's just a matter of doing things intelligently, and I can say that the Yard Goats are following the protocols, and it's an exciting time. But I think time will tell, and one step at a time is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
But we would be remiss not to mention the other big story going on in Hartford sports, and that's the University of Hartford student athletes holding a rally to protest the potential drop to Division III, the Spin Doctor Gate, where a professor and president of University of Hartford were corresponding, and Gregory Woodward, university president, referenced having spin doctors to justify the move, and basically it's a classic case of technology and large groups of people looking at the same thing together not mixing well, because that's definitely was not an email that was something that they wanted to get out, but it's
Yeah, man, talk about a Zoom fail.
yeah.
Maybe you should have had a background or something. I don't know, or sharing. He probably shared the wrong screen, or wow, that's it really goes to show what is sometimes going on behind the scenes of the conversation about sports and college and in general. It's huge decisions being made by the administration that affects students, student athletes, communities, all of that.
And it's very complex. There was a report published publicly last Thursday suggesting that by playing Division III sports instead of D1 sports, the school could save about $10 million a year, though others have said the true savings would be significantly more modest, so there's differing opinions on this. But, the fact of the matter is, just 3 weeks ago, this school was celebrating the first time making it to the dance, making it to March Madness, having won America East. This was a huge moment for the Hawks. It was they had the year before they were going to the title game in the America East and in Vermont, and they had to cancel it. So it was just a really beautiful moment for the neighborhood. And then suddenly you have this story, and it blows up on ESPN. And now you have this protest. People holding up signs reading Hawks Up and Hawks supporting Hawks, and that's great to see in a lot of ways. It's great that they're this passionate about something, they're passionate about their community. But the way it came about is just unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out, but that president sure is under fire.
It's hard to judge because they are doing something, bigger than just sports. They're working on educating a community, and $10 million. Again, the socioeconomic realities of sports and business are far beyond me and this podcast to uncomplicate. But simple matter is the Hawks were on a high, and now they're in a tough spot where the students seem to be posed against the president and the brass, and hopefully this pans out in a better way because things were on the upswing, and the school deserves more.
Yeah, and the students will speak their truth, and we'll see what happens. But it is true that D1 sports are usually only just a handful of money making sports within their basketball, football, etc. Sometimes hockey, and the rest of them it costs the school money. So that's the reality of the situation. You have to take those finances into account, but should be a discussion with the community more so than trying to spin doctor things.
Yeah, well, maybe this at the end of all this, it just makes the conversation more public. The students have a chance to be a part of the conversation now with their rally of protest. Maybe they can get into a more give and take, a more amicable form of communication by the end of this. But I appreciate the passion that's on display about all this.
Absolutely.
And with that does it for another edition of Hartford Sports Cast. It's been a big week. We will be back soon. Take care.
We were awesome! Yes, dudes and dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town! Oh, yeah! Awesome!